Hit it.
Okay, with the creator of Kids Ocean Day of Love Project, Michael, and then the director of Kids Ocean Day of Love Project, David, who is talking to us in San Francisco at a pizza parlor, correct?
Correct,
That's
correct.
the first
Sorry
time
about
for
the
me.
background noise. Yeah,
That was the pizza.
it was really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
You don't necessarily think pizza in San Francisco, but I guess that yeah, it works, right?
It's a city you can find almost anything.
But
And
some fine
good
most.
pizza is one of them. Yes.
And Michael, you're in Los Angeles?
I am.
All right, so the first question is, what is Kids Ocean Day? You got a nice website, you got some social media. This is almost like a promotional film about Kids Ocean Day. Tell us what it is.
Kids Ocean Day is a program I created about 30 years ago. Um, uh, Became involved with or became aware of the trash and debris that was, coming up on our beaches. And I developed a program to take to schools. And it was basically, it was a slideshow presentation. I know that that's an old tech term for pictures, a few hundred pictures that were presented to the kids that showed elementary school kids and showed them all the happy animals and how they got tangled in the trash, and then showed the impact of the trash on the ocean and really helping the kids get that point that trash that gets dropped on the street when it rains, it goes down to the beaches and ocean. And so that program we've been delivering for about 30 years here in Los Angeles, and it's expanded to four other cities in California. We've taken it to Hong Kong also for 4 years. And then at the end of the school year in May, we bring out a few thousand of those kids to the
Okay.
beach. And so there it is. That's basically the program. And it came from me loving the beaches and oceans and being a sailor, and saw that it was getting dirty and wanting to do something about it. And the kind of the theme of the program is empowering kids to save the earth by connecting them to the beaches and oceans. And
So how's that mission going?
well, it's great. The teachers keep bringing me back every year,
Yeah.
and there's actually about 13-14% of the kids we bring out here in Los Angeles have never been to the beach before. So, anecdotally, we're getting it back from teachers and kids about the great impact it has of
I
bringing these.
find that interesting that they live in Los Angeles and a lot of the kids they don't go to the beach.
Yeah, they just haven't made it to the beach yet. Yeah, I haven't really found the real reason. They could be new in the community and haven't gotten out there. Their parents can't afford to bring them out to the beach. So there's a couple things, but I don't have real research on it. All I know is that every year when I ask the teachers, how many kids have actually not come to the beach, and it seems to be at around that, just a little under 15%.
So then, okay, so David directed the film. So when did you come on board to kind of make this film? You kind of make a funny little cameo in the movie too, which are in the news media. But tell me about
Yeah,
the film.
yeah. So I have been involved peripherally with Kids Ocean Day for a couple decades, actually. I part of the program that Michael hasn't mentioned yet is we do aerial art designs made of human bodies, and then someone goes up in the helicopter to photograph and videotape the image of save the ocean, save the whales, save the turtles, whatever it might be, and
Mhm.
then send it out to the universe. So I am the guy who would.
Well, we just lost you, David.
You just put yourself on mute. There you
Oh,
go.
there you
Oh,
go. Okay.
You put
sorry
yourself
about
on
that.
mute by mistake.
So you are the
Okay.
guy.
So I did, yeah. So I was the guy that went up in the airplane or the helicopter to capture some of that aerial video. Um, and I said, Michael, I was intrigued with the way the whole program worked and the beauty of it and the passion of Michael and his team and the volunteers. But the kids, being around the kids and seeing them like experiencing, as Michael mentioned, some kids that haven't been to the beach before, and then how it can change their lives and in positive ways. So I said, hey, let's do something with this story. So it did actually start as a promo film at one point, and then kind of took a bunch of different turns. Michael said, you have free reign, do whatever you want with it. And then that's how this piece became what it is.
Gotcha. And then Michael, did you see a rough cut? Did you have any input when you watched it?
No, David came down. I think it was 22, David. I think that was the first year after COVID when we had come back
22,
to the beach.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I asked David to come down and cover the event and go up in the helicopter. And usually what I ask videographers who come out to the beach is, give me a minute of something, of the kid, put together a minute piece that I can use in post. And it was quite funny because there's my cats going by. Okay. David and I were talking about, okay, well, so what should this piece be? And, we, like David said, we thought, oh, well, it's promotional, or maybe it'll be for fundraising, or, and then, I don't know, I got it going with other projects. David got going with other things, and it wasn't a high priority to get a minute video. And it actually, we went along for almost a year. And every few months we would talk, well, what about this and what about that? And finally, at the end of the year, I said, David, you shot it. I'm looking for a new eye from an artist and how they view Kids Ocean Day, and thinking it was going to be a minute. And David delivered 10 minutes.
Okay.
And so there it is. And it was a different take. I mean, typically video folks come and they're taking like interview with a kid, interview with me, that they go up in the helicopter. They're almost like news pieces. And so I was just thrilled to see this more of a behind the scenes thinking on our education, and so fell in love with that point of view. Yeah.
So you start the film with the kid's voiceover, kind of like the kid's perspective, I guess. How did you get that kid? Like, I'm just curious, the kid you picked to do that.
That kid, so that the beginning was from another video that we had done a few years ago.
Okay.
And so he came from some other filmmakers, and that we put that into the beginning. And actually, he was the son of one of the filmmakers who was a friend of mine.
Gotcha.
So it was easy to cast.
And then you got the news story, right? The CBS news story,
Right.
Local news.
Yeah.
And then you have yourself being interviewed, and then it's almost like who are you, I guess, right? It's almost like a question is like, who's this guy who created this? Which
Right.
they kind of answered, right, in the film.
Yeah.
Right.
And then that Zoom interview that I did with Michael, I had all these disparate parts, right? Here's some video from every year you could possibly ever want video, and interviews from kids and all this stuff and what. But I needed the story told to me because I had specific questions. So we literally did a Zoom video, not unlike this, and recorded it. Michael was on blue and I was up next to him, and I just had an opportunity to let him tell the story in his own words to me. And then that really became kind of the heart of the piece in a way. It was, Zoom videos aren't great quality, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't, this film isn't about the great quality cinematography or whatever.
Yeah.
It's about the heart. It's about love.
Yeah.
And I was honored to be able to work on the film.
Gotcha. And so then you shoot the day, the Kids Ocean Day, but it's almost like it's not just about cleaning up the ocean.
Right.
It's about kind of community, and it's about these kids connecting at the ocean, right? At the beach.
Yeah. I mean, as the years have gone by, this beach that we go to, Dockweiler State Beach, is not. There's not a lot of trash. it's little bits and pieces of trash that the kids pick up, and they discover these little bits and pieces that you don't see that are underneath the surface. So they are in fact picking up some. But I've felt that the heart of the video is to get kids to fall in love with the beach. I mean, that's how I came to it. I'm in love with the beaches and oceans. I was brought up in New England. It was the beaches and oceans and boating, and so I'm in love with it. And I saw my love being damaged, and wanted to do something about it. And so I'm very clear that that's what's going on with me, and then also, with the teachers and the kids, is getting these kids to, yes, they're doing some cleanup, but it's getting them to have a day where they fall in love with the resource. Without that, we're not going to have citizens who are going to care about the beaches and ocean unless they fall in love with it. And David had brought up a point too about observing kids that come to the beach. There are so many people that come to the beach as volunteers that have caught that moment and be present to that moment when the kid who has never been to the beach steps off the bus and is like, ah!
Yeah.
And they hadn't stepped in sand before.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so there's teachers that feel this is important. There's teachers that have been doing this for 20 years. There's volunteers that have been with the program for 20 years, and that's quite a repeating theme of what it is that they love about it, is just seeing the kids get off the bus and go, "Wow, this is really cool." So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then I guess touching the water, right? So.
yeah, well, they do go down and touch the water. We try not to let them go too far into it because they'll want to get in the water. But yes, some of the kids actually get down there and do touch it. And I talk with the volunteers that show up, and I talked to them about volunteering and being with the kids, and I said, some of these kids have never been to the beach before. So if you're with a kid and you're helping them and you see a cigarette butt and you encourage that kid, and together you pick up the cigarette butt and remind the kid of what they learned in the school presentations, that cigarette butt, a bird could have eaten it. And so you just saved a bird. And so I say to that volunteer, if that's all you do that day, that's all then I'm as happy as can be, because you were there, you empowered that kid, you made them feel great about their picking up that cigarette butt and saving a bird. And so I'm very happy with that. And many volunteers are wondering, what should I do? And I said, just go with one kid and pick up one cigarette butt and make them feel like they saved the world. And people
You
keep coming
mentioned that
back.
you're from New England and you said you've done things on the West Coast. So do you ever think about going to the East Coast and doing a Kids Ocean Day?
I haven't. I thought about over the years of expanding, and the program has expanded through the California Coastal Commission and their Whale's Tail license plate fund. So when folks in California buy the license plate, that money from that program comes to us. And it has expanded to 4 other cities. But I've found myself, this is a pretty big pond here in Los Angeles. And I continue to swim in it.
You talk about the ocean.
Huh?
You talk about the ocean.
Swim in the ocean and swim in.
So you say you call it the pond, but I'm just like, I know that it's the way it's a figure. It's you're just calling it a pond, but it's the ocean.
Well, yeah, but I'm calling it the pond of. I wasn't thinking of it of the water. I was just thinking of Los Angeles, and this is a big, it's a big city, and there's a lot of work continuing to get. There's 1 million kids that go to school here in LA, and so. We've got lots of kids that we can continue to reach out. And so that seems to be where I focused over.
That makes total sense. And then so you just then you guys like the movie and just kind of pushed, you wanted to send it to film festivals and get some reaction?
Yeah, where it was quite by happenstance that we didn't at first think of film festivals. You know, David came up with the film. We loved the film, and then it was quite by accident. My neighbor was making a film and asked me to be in the film. So I'm in this little short film, and they got into a film festival. And I looked around. I go, wait a minute! Look at all these film festivals. How do you do that? And they said, well, you go to Film Freeway. I went, well, we got a 10-minute film. I'm going to Film Freeway. You know?
Watch yourself. It gets a little addicting though, right?
But you got to be careful, man.
Yeah.
If you hold your finger down too long on Film Freeway, you know, you can go broke. And you got to and you have to focus, you know, so on where your film is and what film festival there is.
Yeah.
And so I did it 20 times, and 7 film festivals invited us. So we're thrilled, just thrilled.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it was a surprise. Even when I mentioned it to David, oh, by the way, David, you know, I'm reaching out, and we got into a film festival. I hadn't even told him. I hadn't told anybody. I just said, well, you know, let me try this. And
I didn't even know he was entering in festivals. So when I first heard that, it's like, oh, really? Well, can I keep working on it then?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought, yeah.
And so we're actually in 3 festivals this November.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah. and you know, I'm learning what DCP means. I didn't even know what that meant before, you know. And last week we were in a theater in a festival called the Awareness Film Festival. They really take purpose-driven types of films, and saw it for the first time in a movie theater. So it was quite a thrill. It was quite a thrill, and got good feedback.
So you did the Q&A afterwards?
A little bit. There was just a quick introduction.
Okay.
And then there was we won an award. We won a change maker award, was one of the award that we were given. And so, you know, that was my Academy Award speech came out, that I'm humbled and surprised, and you know, thank you very much. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
So are you guys going to make another film since you got the bug?
Well, I'm looking at something, and David and I are talking. Yes, the answer is yes. When I'm looking at something else, because I think that is a good way to say it. I have gotten a bug, and it's in line with the work that I've been doing with the beaches and oceans. So it's another take on it, more listening from the kids' point of views all the way. Rather than any interview with me. I remember years ago when we were doing a cleanup, and one of the local reporters came to the beach that I recognized, and they recognized me. I'd seen them there for quite a few years, and I said hello, and I try to make myself available. So I said, "Oh, hi, welcome." It was Channel 7, Channel 2. I said, "Welcome." I said, "Did you want to interview me?" And he goes, "Nah." He says, "I just want to talk to the kids." So I said, "Good. I can continue to work on the event. Go talk to the kids." So I like that energy. That's what they were down there for, is to talk to the kids.
Yeah, but of course, David wanted to talk to you, right? So.
And David wanted to talk to me.
Yeah.
And he interviewed, there's a lot of kids that he interviewed too, but he focused on me.
I think that this film, I thought this from the very beginning, this film could be longer. It could, you know, to tell more of a story, to go and find some of these kids that were influenced by this program 20 years ago. Where are they now? What have they done? Do they remember it? If so, what was, you know, that experience, that memory, and how did it change their life? To me, that's a longer format film. I don't know if I would call it a feature film, but there's a lot of great story there, I think.
Yeah.
So this film also, in my mind, really was this is just a taste of this bigger story.
100%, yeah.
And so I would like the opportunity at some point to go into the archives, see what you got, get some PAs or some other producer types and go out and do the research and tell the whole story. I think that'd be amazing. Yeah.
Well, guys, I really appreciate your time in two different cities, and you can go back to your pizza, and yeah, just a really interesting kind of perspective on the film, because yeah, there's obviously a bigger story here. There's different angles you can take, and the longevity of the film, and that's what I was asking about the East Coast, because it could easily be a franchise, right? You could franchise this out to like Florida, like.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
like,
There's a thought there. I mean, that's how it got to Hong Kong, but
yeah.
it comes from there being a producer and somebody in those cities that's interested.
Yeah.
And so, and a matter of fact, I didn't tell David this, but a friend of mine in Berlin contacted me, and she's talking to some folks there, so they want to bring it to Berlin, along the river. And so that comes from someone who's in the community and is established there, and then and knows the lay of the land. And so I'm certainly open to going.
Yeah. And then there's that energy, right? When you go to the ocean, when you go to when you're near water, like it's been studied that it's like there's a different vibe that you get. It's like good for the soul, right? So
for sure. Yeah, there's some I remember reading a study. It's that when you go to the ocean, I mean, we live in a very 360-degree craziness whirling around us, in our life. But when you go to the ocean, 180 of it is disappeared, because now you're standing there and now there's only half of that of what was surrounding you is behind you, and then you've got all that clarity. So it reduces the incoming stimulus of being.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to look at it. I never thought of that before, but yeah, it makes total sense what you just said. Yeah.
And what I love here is like listening to David, because this is how this started in the first place. Because a couple of years ago, we were out in the desert at a retreat and sitting down and having a bite to eat. And David, said, Michael, I think that there's something here with Kids Ocean Day. And it was from that he came out and did the video. And then from that, he edited the video. And now here he is saying, well, I think there's something more to expand. So that's the beginning of the expansion. Thank you, David.
Well, guys, why don't we talk again when you guys make a sequel or make your next film?
Absolutely.
Sounds great. Hey, I might actually see you. I have a wild sound video for another film I have in the circuit. I'll be meeting up with you or somebody over in your team not too far from now, like within a few weeks. So
sounds good.
That should be fun. Hey, thanks for your time, Michael. I'll see you later.
Bye-bye, David. Enjoy your pizza. And will we get a edited